In this quick and easy video guide, we're going to see how we can paint on our 3D object in our 3D scene in Blender. We're going to use two different methods using a mask, so painting only where the white parts of the image are, like using alpha channel, and also using a standard picture, a standard texture image that we can insert in Blender. Now let's get started from the beginning. So I'm going to create a new general file, and I'm only going to use the standard cube here, the simple cube, so everyone can follow really easy, really fast. And the first thing we want to check when we use the 3D object to paint is to check the UV editing. Now, the object that you want to paint on needs to have a correct UV mapping. Better if it is unwrapped like this. So when you have an unwrapped mapping like this, you don't have overlapping faces, so you can paint all the pixels correctly. Now, first of all, let's get textures. So I just searched on Google with texture, and I found a lot of texture here. I've chosen two. This one here is from Raw Pixels. So you can take any texture that you want, by the way. And I just chose this one, and this is the site where you want to get it. And it's totally free and public domain. And then I've chosen this other one, and this is for my alpha channel, but again, you can take any black and white image that you want, and I found this here, so you can download it free as well. You don't need like the maximum resolution. You just can also save the image from here just to make a quick exercise. So let's get back into the scene, and we're gonna move forward here. We want to move to texture paint. Now you can see this is in purple because we don't have a texture to paint on yet. Do we have a material? Well, we can check that in the shading mode. Now shading mode is where you find the material editor at the bottom. And by the way, if you want to know more about these things, you don't know about these things, these basic things, you can check the other video guides that you find in a playlist, or also the video courses in Blender in the channel. Now we see here that we have a material, but what if we accidentally don't have one, or we delete one? So if we go here and delete the material from the material tab, well, just click on new, and then you're gonna have a standard, a base material to paint on. Now, so you need a mapping, a material, and then a texture to paint on. To create a texture, we will click here where there is a no texture sign on the right, and click on the plus button and click on base color, because we want to paint with the base color to create some color. So this is the most superficial color. You can also paint with other channels and layers, but we're gonna use this. You define the resolution here. You can start with an alpha channel, which means it's gonna be transparent, or we can fill it with a blank white or gray or black color. Let's choose white, and now let's say okay, and you can see now the cube has turned white because now we have a texture applied on it. And this is showing again the mapping that we're gonna use to paint on this object. So we can start with really simple painting. So if we go up here, we can choose just a simple color here like orange, and we can start to paint. We can use the image here, the UV representation, or we can just paint in 3D right here. So you can see that it's really easy once you set up everything. Now, how we can paint with images? Well, that's simple also. Let's go here in the tool tab. Is the top one here on the right. It's showing us now that we are using the drawing brush. Now, if we go down, you see we have two sections here. We have texture and texture mask. So these are similar, but they have different purposes. So let's start with the texture, and I'm gonna click on new, and you can see this is an empty space right now. It's total black, so I'm gonna click on this little button, and it's gonna bring me directly to the texture properties, which is the last tab here on the bottom. and I'm gonna open the image that I just downloaded. So I'm gonna go here, and that's the color image right here. I'm gonna open the image, and now I have the texture. So I'm gonna increase the radius of the brush a little bit, and now you can see I can paint with this texture. Now be careful because it's painting also with this orange tint. So if you want more natural tint, you should go gray or white or something in there. Now be also careful not to paint from a side view like this, otherwise you're gonna stretch the polygons and sorry the pixels on the polygons. So you just wanna paint on front of your object. And this is called right here, if we go in the well, it's using right now, if we go here again on the draw brush tool panel, it's using the texture here and tiled. Tiled means that it's gonna repeat the texture every time it needs to restart. And we can see a little bit of seams here, just a little. So this is not probably a correct seamless texture, but we can solve that in many ways. One way to solve it is to use a random painting instead of a tiled. So we can click just once and paint, click with the left mouse and paint on the area. So you can see that the image appears pretty random and not so repeated. Or we can use other options here in the mapping, but these are shown also in other video courses and other video guides. So let's go forward here with the example. So you can see I'm painting here all the face. Be careful not to stretch the pixels, so not to paint on the side but frontal. And also you have a stroke. Stroke is really interesting because you can paint with this space method, or you can use dots, or you can use drag dot, which is click and drag and place the texture whatever you want. Also another interesting one is anchored. So you click and drag, you can change also the size. So now I can paint with different size, different position, and it's gonna give me, you know, pretty random and non-repeated texture. So I definitely won't see the seams in here. So there are really a lot of ways we can do this in Blender. Now when we finish to paint our texture, we can start using the texture mask. Now the texture mask is an extra effect or feature that we can add to the normal texture that we're using, to the standard texture that we're using. So I'm gonna click on new, again, click on properties, click on open, and let's get the black and white images. Black and white images work better than the other colored images in terms of creating masks and alpha channels. And you can use logos, you can use whatever you want, you can create your own. It needs to be black and white, that's the bottom line. So I'm gonna apply this and click here. So you can see that with the anchored, again, the anchor stroke is creating these stripes, because we only have like white bark stripes here. So only on the white we're gonna see the texture. On the black part it will not be visible. So it's gonna add an extra effect to the painting. Now if we change the color a little bit, let's make this darker, we can see this better. So you can use this to create dirt or scratches or whatever you want. And again, let's try with some different stroke. So let's use, for example, the drag dot. So I click and drag, and I can place this whatever I want. You also have the strength, which means more or less opacity. And that's it. So just play around with different type of combination of mapping and painting, and paint with the texture and with the mask. And this will be all for this video. If you enjoyed, subscribe to this channel so you can stay updated for more videos. Check out other courses in 3D and other video guides. And also, if you want to support us more, if you want to thank us, you can join the channel as a supporter, and this will help us to create more videos. So thanks for watching and see you in the next.